All right, I'd like to welcome everyone inside North Hill Bowl for the 2022 Morris Anderson Memorial Shootout here live on NDBowlTV. We'll bring you into the booth. I'm Darren Cini alongside Ken Fletcher. Another year here on the High Plains Bowling Network. Welcome back.
It feels like it's been a long time since we've been here.
Right?
It's I know it's only August, but yeah, been a long few months for everyone, I think. So awesome to be back here doing this. Tournament atmosphere is always great up here.
Awesome, and let's do a quick recap of yesterday's action. The qualifying round, we just finished up position round. We do have an idea who our final five are, but we're waiting for the confirmation of those scores, so we'll get to those in a minute. Yesterday, leading qualifying was Paul Bober with an 18-16 eight-game total, which is pretty good on this pattern. The pattern was a pretty difficult, we'll get this up on the screen for you guys. What was it, a 2-2-4-1 kind of custom pattern made by the people down at Kegel for Rory and the staff here at the Morris?
Yep, we both bowled it very touchy. I mean, you could shoot some scores on it, as said, Paul did, leading qualifying by 23 pins? I mean, anything over 1,800, no matter what you are on out here, that's a great score.
And I would agree, and I think it's probably Paul's first time here at the shootout as well.
As far as I've seen, yes. But, yeah, great bowling yesterday by him for sure.
And then all the way down to Tony Olivo was the cut at 26 over, so a pretty fair pattern.
Yep, yeah, anytime you get that cut, like I said, 25 under to 25 over, I don't think anyone can complain too much. It's, too hard or too easy. So, yeah, dude, a lot of drama, last night going into the final game. And
even the alternate spot, I think they had a roll-off for the alternate spot between Arnie Gertis and Wade Scott.
Yep, say we did not catch that, but I think it was really tight in that match, too, where Wade had to pick up a single pin in the 10th to secure the alternate position and did so.
Yeah, and for those of you just joining us, the qualifying round had already ended, and then we wait like an hour and a half for them to compile everything. It's really loud. I do apologize. They're announcing the top five.
If you want to wait for your checks, we'll have checks in like 10, 15 minutes.
Okay, I guess they're just announcing the top.
Not yet. I think he was just saying they're going to tabulate scores first to make sure. But
okay, so as we were saying, so you're done with the qualifying, and then we wait for like an hour and a half for them to compile all the money, the bracket money, and the scores, and then found out that there's a tie for the alternate. Well, they only pay one alternate, and that you have to decide who would go in if somebody weren't to show up. And so then the guys had to get all their stuff out, had to get their shoes back on, and bowl a full game down on 3 and 4 to decide who is alternate. So it's bad enough that you find out that you're the alternate, but try bowling rolling off to see who is the alternate.
Yep. Yeah, it's a lot of drama late in the day, but yeah, I mean, we had a really good field as always this year. I mean, it always brings out the best bowlers in the area. What did Jeff say? I believe 7 different states represented.
Right. Yep.
A
lot of first-timers here, too.
We're going to see a couple of them on our show, we believe, too. Actually, 3.
In my mind, there's only one on the show that we've seen before.
Now, granted, we have one that will be a household name to a lot of people, but by my math, at least right now, it's going to be very, very different from what we're used to, other than our top seed who ran away with the field today.
Which is no surprise, to be honest with you.
Not one bit. I'm pretty sure that I called it yesterday when could see how the pattern played out, that he was going to do very well today, and as we expected, yep, he did. And
I would like to say, if you're just joining us, please let us know how it looks, how it sounds. We were kind of tweaking with our audio a little bit before the show, so if you guys can hear us or let us know how everything looks and sounds, that would be greatly appreciated. Head on into the chat room. And then if you could, please share the live stream with everyone you know on social media. That would be greatly appreciated as well. We will be underway with our final five here momentarily once they compile the scores.
Everyone kind of getting situated, just waiting, but I think most of the guys already know if they're in or out just by looking around at this point. So.
And again, we have our list ready to go here on NDBowlTV, but we're waiting for the official word, and then we will be underway.
Can you hear the guys talking about it? Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
Number 1 with the 2402 is Nick Heilman. Number 2 with the 2254 is Paul Butter. Number 3 with the 2236 is Will Mateffi. Number 4 with the 2261 is Brent Newman. And number 5 with the 2201 is Chad Nelson.
Okay, so here is our
And 6 with the 2192 is Spencer Gibson.
official scores
Just a
here.
few minutes and Renee will write you your checks.
Our official scores now are Stepladder Finals will feature top seed Nick Heilman, champion back in 2017. And then number 2, Paul Bober, first-time bowler here at the Shootout. Number 3, Will Mateffi, also a first-time bowler here at the Shootout.
Very much in practice on 23 and 24.
Brent Newman,
And we're going to start on 29 and 30 in just a minute.
number 4, and Chad Nelson, the number 5.
So great mix of bowlers that we have not seen and don't know a whole lot about, to be quite honest. Obviously, Nick, no stranger. Don't know if I can even count how many shows he's been on anymore. And to be quite honest, Chad Nelson.
So we need Chad Nelson and Brent Newman at 29 and 30.
Yeah, as I was saying, Chad Nelson needs no introduction in the area. One of the great bowlers out of the city's fixture up here. Surprised that this is the first show that I believe he's ever made here.
Yeah, I believe he's Mr. CBA down in the cities. You know, probably has a record of CBA titles. Last I heard, that could have changed by now, but a very, very talented bowler in his own right, and it'll be good to see him on NDBowlTV.
Yep. It was quite the position round. We had all the way down to 9th, 10th, even 11th was less than 50 pins out of the show.
Yeah, everything was really close in the position round, and I was pretty surprised how close the score stayed. With the exception of Heilman up top.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was 53 pins from 2nd to 5th. Normally we don't see that close. It's you usually see 100, 150 gap. So the top couple will separate themselves. Nick obviously separated himself today, but yeah, everything else has been incredibly close all day long, and came down to the 10th frame for 2 bowlers to as to who was going to make the Stepladder Finals, and wins make a difference, and that was really what helped Chad get in the shows. He shot a lower game in position round, but those 30 extra bonus pins made all the difference.
Yeah, and I do believe, Spencer Gibson had an open in the 10th in position round, and that actually costed him a spot on the show.
Yep, unfortunately, yeah, he finished 9 pins out. Another 4 pins back was finals last year, Russ Oviatt.
Yep.
He ended up shooting, I believe, a solid 220 and just a little bit too far back to, make it up. So one of those position rounds where it's like it's down to the last ball and everybody knows it.
Okay, there's Jeff with the check, $4,000 to the winner. As you see, Chad Nelson and Brent Newman will be on their way here for 2 shots on each lane. Again, if you can please let us know in the chat room how everything looks and sounds, I would appreciate that. Dave Heatherly, how's it going?
Always good to hear
Welcome
from
to the
Dave.
show. Hopefully all is well down in Florida for you. And again, as I mentioned earlier, we have been tweaking with our audio levels and the mixer here, so hopefully everything sounds good. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Okay, sounds great. I do appreciate that. Thank you for letting us know. Again, Brent Newman and Chad Nelson are in our first match here at the 2022 Morris Anderson Memorial Shootout live on NDBowlTV. Again, I'm Darren Cini alongside Ken Fletcher, bringing you live coverage of the finals. And I would like to remind you that our next show will be at the NDBowling.com Classic at Sunset Lanes, February 27th. Once again, at approximately 1:30 local time. It's kind of at the mercy of how fast match play goes and scores get out, but that is our best guess. I would like to thank the folks at Hammer for being the official bowling ball sponsor of NDBowlTV. And again, if you haven't already, please stay connected to NDBowling.com and NDBowlTV on social media. I haven't updated this graphic, but we actually do have an Instagram account as well, so find us there at NDBowling. And again, if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. Hit that thumbs up button. It does help us greatly. We do actually have a live sub count to put on the screen to see kind of how our subs are doing this year. So that'll show up on the top of the screen. Currently hit 1,400 subscribers, so just another milestone down.
Yep, earlier this morning, I believe, wasn't it?
Yeah, just not that long ago, so thank you to everyone who subscribes. That will update as people subscribe, so if you haven't already, please do so. It is free. Again, Chad Nelson and Brent Newman will be underway. It looks like Chad will start on the left lane by the looks of it.
It appears so. It's going to be an interesting match from what I was just kind of seeing in warm-ups. Both guys are playing really similar areas of the lane. They've been in there all day from what I've been seeing. Chad, I think, threw 3 different balls in his couple frames and going with, looks like the last ball he threw, and it was 4 shots. So.
And that is something to kind of allude to, too, is how this pattern played. And there was a definitive out of bounds, but you could still play that oil line.
Yep.
And there was a clear track area where there was some friction in the middle part of the lane that you could play as well.
Looks like a very good ball switch from Chad. That was really nice. That's what we've seen, late in the day. A lot of people playing that inside line like that. Like I said, clear out of bounds. If you got it right, it would not recover. And, you'll likely see it in this match even. You get it a little bit right, a little bit quick, and it will not make it. But then you have guys like Nick, and I believe Paul towards the end of the day was, as Nick says every year, the gutter always plays on day 2, and, proved it yet again today.
Yeah, and it's obviously consistent because he's made the show here probably 6 or 7 out of 8 years. And
yeah,
just incredible consistency from that guy in this tournament. And he keeps throwing the same ball in the same area of the lane, and it always works.
Yep, so it's going to be a fun stepladder. Could be some really good scores. We saw 220, 2-0 this, in position round on this pair. We've seen 160s on this pair today.
And speaking of games, I will like to let everyone know in the chat room, and I guess those that didn't bowl, that there was not a 300 game in qualifying yesterday, so the $3,000 pot did not go out. And if everything holds true next year, that should be worth $3,300. So
you show up, you shoot 300, you automatically make second place money.
Yeah, more than second place money, which is insane.
Yep. Tough start from Brent there. You have to wonder if maybe the nerves are a little bit going because,
right.
Don't know a whole lot about Brent, but obviously very good bowler and, deserves to be here. It's one of the hardest fields and hardest shows to make. And
I think that was kind of the miss from inside, is if you didn't quite catch it right or didn't get the entry angle right, it was soft hits, it was corner pins, it was, and if you missed right, you'd miss the head pin right. Washouts were kind of common, and
you could miss that little bit right as long as you stayed with the shot and didn't kind of shove it through the oil. Second, you shove it through the oil and it's gone. You're washing out. You're missing the head pin. But,
Okay,
a
so-
miss like that is perfectly fine right there. You pick up your 10 pin and move on.
Yeah, and those of you who are just joining us, let's look at our top 5 here. Nick Heilman is our top seed. Paul Bober in second. Will Matafee is our 3, so he'll take on the winner of this one, Brent Newman and Chad Nelson. So that is our top 5.
Chad up after a pretty good shot in the first frame, and looks like he is actually using 2 different balls. And you can see the miss right there, just a little bit firm, and it doesn't want to turn over. But you take a 2-pin and run at this point.
All right, we're going to put a poll in the chat room, so if you have the chat room available on your device, please head on into the chat room. We're going to ask, who do you think will win the shootout? And we'll I'll put the seeds behind their name here, so you kind of know who they are. Who do you think will win? That should pop up in the chat room here momentarily. So feel free to take part in that poll. Hopefully it worked.
Good shot from Chad there. Yeah, I think this first match is just going to be settling the nerves a little bit for both of these guys. I mean, Chad, no stranger to this kind of stuff, but,
It's always hard getting comfortable in a different environment that you really, even as many times as you bowl on this, I'm sure Nick by now is pretty comfortable, but I don't think it ever goes away. The first few shots on something like this are always a little...
Yeah, just like I said, hard to get comfortable, hard to, maybe settle the nerves a little bit.
Decent shot there, but hooks. Yeah, and it's just if you can get it to hook early enough, if it gets out to that, it is a 42-foot pattern, so if it gets out to that rangefinder before it starts to see the lane, you're going to come in behind the head pin, leave a corner, and again, that's not a bad thing because I know you and I left some pretty crazy spares yesterday.
Yep, we are not alone in that, but yeah, we were talking before we came on the show. It's like you give a game like this, a couple 10 pins here from Brent early. It's like take your spares, you move on, you pick up a double when you can, and you're going to be fine. You catch a hot pair and, shoot 230, 240, and you pick up a bunch on the field.
And I would like to say, for those of you who haven't bowled the shootout, the way they do this is 30 people will advance to day 2, and then they split you up into 3 groups of 10, where you roll round-robin match play with everyone within your group. And what that does here at North Hill Bowl is you bowl 3 games in a section, as we would call it, of the house. So if you bowl 3 games down here in the 20s, then you're going to bowl 3 games in the teens and 3 games down on the very low end of the house. And a lot of times players go to different sections and bowl better in different sections, and there's higher games in different sections. So different groups tend to make those charges later or earlier in the day, depending on where they're at in the section of the house. So,
yep.
And that was, I think, very true for Chad Nelson because he made a really big run late in the match play here right in front of us, pretty much.
Yep, absolutely. Like Brent, I believe he was in the middle group, so he ended up on the low end, but, Nick was in the very first group, so he ended up in the middle, and then I don't think it would have mattered which group Nick was in. But, yeah, it can absolutely matter where you start and where you finish, and nice spare there for Brent. But, again, that first shot was a perfect example. You get it just a little wide, and that didn't have a chance. Let's see what Chad can do here on the right lane.
Again, Will Matafee is our 3 seed awaiting the winner of this match in the quarterfinal match. And Paul Bober in the number 2 seed, and then our top seed, Nick Heilman, and past champion, waiting in the finals.
And
Ooh.
you know what? I've seen that almost that leave about 4 times on lane 30. And
Lane 30 has some really weird hits, really weird pin carry going on.
yeah, I forget. Jared Schmidt, I believe,
Jared Schmidt,
early
yes.
in the day left swishing light
Yeah.
410.
Yeah,
like
pocket 410.
just about like that. And I've seen 2 or 3 other people almost leave it on this lane. It is something weird here, but as it is, 9 spare, and you move on to the next frame, which left lane appears to be Chad's good lane right now.
Again, if you're just joining us, that number in between the middle there, between the scores, is the actual live subscriber count here at NDBowlTV. So if you're not a subscriber, please hit that subscribe button. It is free, and we are working to try to get to 2,000 subscribers. So if you could do that, that would be greatly appreciated. That does update every few minutes, so please do that. Again, Chad Nelson against Brent Newman here in our first match.
Yeah, I think whoever can get by this match will have a good advantage in the next 2 matches. But as they say, it's
so
why you
easy
play
to
the
do.
game. And
That is so easy to do on this.
yep, so I feel like that was maybe just a little bit firm from Chad and just kind of spun in the oil, and that's what happens so easily.
And a big thank you to everyone that's come into the chat room and kind of let us know how things look and cheering for who they're cheering for here. So do appreciate that. Nevin, Kent, Mike Allen, good to see you all. Clayton, Dallas, Blake, thank you for joining us. Do appreciate it.
Well, get your 2 and move on. But, yeah, this is going to be just a battle of attrition this first match, I think. Just getting comfortable.
And really, over the years, this pair has always been tricky.
It has. There's been years where it has produced some really high scores. I remember Brady Stern shooting 260 in the finals and just making it look effortless one year.
And there was another year where he struggled mightily in the finals. I mean, It's been an up and down type of tournament for Brady Stearns, and it was today as well.
Yeah, he was in the top 5 for quite a few games and ended up finishing in 11th place with a rough finish to the day. But, yeah, I mean, 4 of our 5 finalists here, show what you can do. I mean, 4 guys that have never made the show, and, 3 of them, I believe, first-timers here, so.
And if you were just joining us, the pattern we are bowling on is a custom 42-foot pattern made by the folks at Kegel down in Florida. And it's a shade under 29 mils. And so a lot of that oil is in the front part of the lane. So as it carries down, it creates a little wiggle room down lane, and there's a definitive out of bounds, but it's one of those where it's an area that you can still play. So you had players either playing right of 10, or you had players playing where Brent and Chad are playing right now. So it was multiple angles to the pocket. They hooked a little more than you thought right out of the gates, but once they broke down and the oil carried down lane, there were kind of 2 definitive areas to play.
Yep, and you'll see that with our final 5 here.
Yeah, you'll have somebody in each part.
Yep, because Will be right in there with these guys. That was a nice shot. Looks like kept that a little bit tighter down lane. Yeah, Will be right in there with these 2 guys. Paul, I believe the last game or 2, actually moved out to where Nick was, and he was in for, a fair portion of the day that we could see.
And when he did move out, he had, front 6 in position around, front 7?
Front 7, ended up shooting 240 to leap from, what was he? He was in the 5 spot and jumped all the way to the 2, so. Yeah, I'd say this first match, it's just going to be who can get by here. Chad with another light hit on that right lane, and wonder if he's questioning his ball choice at this point, because just looks like he doesn't want to quite get it there, even though it looks like I think he's getting it where he wants. And correction, this is Brent's second time here.
Second time, okay.
Thank you, Blake.
Yeah, we don't normally see everyone or be able to know who's here every year, but
Well,
Will did tell us it's his first time here, and I do believe it's Paul's first time here.
I believe so. We'll, if anybody does know, please let us know. You know, we're pretty good with the people that we see, but said there's 111 bowlers I think we had this year. It sometimes hard to keep everyone straight.
Yeah, let's look at the qualifying scores for these two guys. As Chad
And that's
leaves a 10. That's a tough spare on this.
happens so easily.
Chad qualified 13th yesterday with a 1696. And then Brent qualified 17th yesterday with a 1669. So pretty solid day for both players.
Yep, I mean, pretty much what you would expect from Chad, you know, just solid consistency. He's going to be there all day. And Brent, you know, really simple game. You know, so you can imagine how he would do pretty well on almost anything. But yeah, let's strike up. Let's see if he can take advantage of the opens. That looks wide.
Ooh.
Wow.
So you saw that little wiggle room down there, but it just had enough time to turn the corner, swish them out. Sometimes it's a better hit here at North Hill Bowl, if you ask me.
Absolutely can be.
All right, let's look into our poll. 38% say Nick Heilman, 19% say Paul Bober, 24% Will Matafee, and then 19% think the winner of this game. So thank you for participating in the poll in our chat room.
Yeah, like I said, I think whoever can get by this match is going to have a good chance to run up the ladder, just given that they'll at least have a game under their belt with two guys who are making their first, TV appearance around here.
And that one just never saw the lane, you know.
Yeah.
It's so hard to be able to get your ball to read consistently in that 40 to 45 foot range. And if you can't get it to slow down and read the lane early enough, this is pretty much the outcome. But he's lucky enough to leave a bucket combination because oftentimes the 10 is still there.
Oh, yeah, that could have easily been, 2-8-10, 2-4-10, something like that. And you're staring at an open instead of what say should be a relatively easy spare, but a very choppable spare at the same time.
Well, do you think Chad's in must-strike territory here now? He's down 20. He's got an opportunity to gain some pins here in the 8th, but you got to strike.
I think so. And I think he's still going back to the same ball, but that surprises me a little bit. But, I mean, who am I to question Chad Nelson when we're sitting here?
Right, and I believe it's a reality, a global reality, or else a Zen Master. I'm not too... Yeah, I think it's a reality.
Looks a little bit.
I was a little left, and it
just same thing that happened in the left lane.
And you see that ball. If that ball goes about 3 boards right, it struggles to get up the hill and to get the 10 out. So it's like Chad's trying to fit the ball into that area that produces carry, but you risk going nose and leaving a combination on the right like that.
Yeah, it's so easy to shoot a 150 on this pattern with how they broke down.
Yeah, I had a couple yesterday. Pretty easy to do.
Careful,
and
there's yet another way to chop that.
I was going to say, there's about 3 or 4 different ways to miss this, and Chad's already got 2 of them. Oh, he's going to take that reality and roll it down towards his bag, so a ball change here to,
Well,
he's got the trend 2, I believe.
that's what he's been throwing on the left lane, so you'd think that that's going to be a switch to the right lane too, which
Has a 180 left, which doesn't mean much, or doesn't need much from Brent to get there. So
no, I mean, at this point, Brent needs 2 marks, and that's if Chad is able to strike out, which is not going to happen.
pretty tough out there, and don't get me wrong, the way the pattern starts is very playable, and a lot of people had some pretty decent scores early, and then once there's enough traffic, the pattern breaks down into something a little more playable. But today, everyone always says they're tighter on day 2, and then you have less traffic, and people are kind of playing different parts of the lane. So each pair kind of breaks down different depending on who practiced on that pair this morning.
Yep.
So a lot of factors go into day 2, and it's hard out there.
Day 2 is a shot maker's day. Well, let's be straight about that. And I mean, you've got some really great shot makers. Obviously Nick Heilman, our number 1 seed. Chad Nelson, he's a shot maker in, every sense of the word. And that's not to take anything away from, what he's done for how many years. Wow.
That was a pin from the back that hit the 9 there.
And actually, that seals the match right there for Brent. So
that's it. So Brent will take on Will Matafee in our quarterfinal match coming up next. Another good run by Chad. It seems like he's always in the top 10 when he does make cut. He just hasn't gotten to NDBowlTV, and now finally got to the show, and maybe we'll see him again next year.
I don't think there's any question we'll see Chad next year. It's whether he can put it together again on day 2. He always seems to be right there, and just one of those guys that's always consistent, will always keep himself in it, but maybe doesn't have the big games like some of these other guys do. And I mean, again, taking nothing away from Chad, he's one of the absolute best bowlers in this area. But yeah, not his game right now, but still, great tournament yet again from him.
Okay, so they'll finish out their 10th frames. Once again, we'll show you our final 5. Chad Nelson will finish 5th, so Brent will take on Will in our quarterfinal match. Again, big thanks to Hammer for the official bowling ball sponsor of NDBowlTV once again. Go out and get all the new pieces that are released. I think they just announced 2 big ones from the Hammer brand, the Black Widow Pink Urethane and the 3D Offset. So go out and pre-order those. I think they release February 25th, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but 2 really good pieces there.
Yep, probably be seeing a lot of both of those balls.
And again, please stay connected to ndbowling.com on social media, our Facebook page. Go like that one. Go follow us on Twitter. Please subscribe to your YouTube channel. Hit that thumbs up button. We do appreciate that. Again, our next show will be at Sunset Lanes in Moorhead for the ndbowling.com Classic, February 27th at approximately 1:30 p.m. local time. There still are spots available there. If you would like to come bowl at Sunset Lanes, please call them and sign up. Okay, and that'll finish us out here. Chad Nelson 149, Brent Newman 188. Brent will move on to take on Will Matafee, who will get 2 shots on each lane and lane choice here. It is Will's first time to the shootout, so already a pretty good average for what he's doing here.
I would say so. And from what I could tell in his warm-ups down on the practice pair, will probably be right in there with Brent. Little different game, a little bit more of the new age game, if you will. But yeah, should be another good match. Say 188 is nothing to be ashamed of right now. It's always been a difficult pair.
And we did ask a lot of people in the chat room back at the NDBowlTV Masters in October as to what you guys think. Is there an advantage to being that guy that wins the first match and having the intel on the pair, and the guy coming in only gets essentially 4 shots? Do you think now that Brent has a game under his belt that he has the advantage going forward, or do you think, where would you rather be if you were asking, if you had to choose? And I know everyone would want that game for the title, but if there was ever a advantageous position in the stepladder, where do you think that would be?
I remember watching, who knows what show from back in the 2000s, but Randy Peterson saying, if I can't be the number 1 seed and you have that one game, I'll take the 3 seed. Because you get a game under your belt after, that first, there's the first match, and then that first person isn't totally comfortable, but, you get a couple games under your belt, and by the time you get to that top seed, you're loose and ready to go and have a pretty good idea of what's going on. And, I'm not going to totally disagree with that, but, in my mind, the fewer games you have to bowl, the better.
Absolutely. If you were going to guarantee a chance to bowl for the title every day, all day, and twice on Sunday, it's just how it is.
Absolutely. But, yeah, if you can't be the number 1 seed, give me the number 2 seed, and I'll be happy. I'll take my chance to, one game and then bowl the title.
Yeah, I always feel like the person coming into the match, having already bowled a game, always has that slight advantage of knowing what the lanes are doing. But at the same time, there's a reason the other person is the higher seed. They have something that a lot of people don't.
Yep, absolutely.
And so, take from it what you may.
Yep.
We'll see kind of what Will is doing here. Obviously, he's playing left, just like Brent and Chad were.
Yep. Yeah, like I said, with what I was seeing and what I've seen from Rolly bowled, a couple pairs were writing me all day yesterday, and we've got a really good game, but like I said, a little bit more of the new age, going to be a little bit higher rev rate, and may be able to get some of those hits out that those guys weren't in the first match. So.
And while we have a moment, big shout out to Stu and the staff here at North Hill Bowl, another well-run tournament. Jeff Craig, Rory Selk, Renee Shirley, and everyone here. A well-run tournament. I didn't really see any breakdowns as far as the machines go. Everything went pretty smooth yesterday. They had a little banquet here on 1 through 16 where the food is catered in from the Grand Hotel just down the street. And, everything went really well. So, again, props to North Hill Bowl and the staff here for another great tournament.
Yep. As good a run tournament as you're ever going to find. And they do a great job. On top of everything, the lanes ran great from what I could tell. The odd deadwood, but that's to be expected.
But that's a big shout out to Robert Ballard, the mechanic here.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys nobody ever sees, but he does such a great job with the machines here.
Oh, 100%.
Okay, so we're underway in our quarterfinal match. Brent Newman up first on the left lane. Pretty good shot there, a little high for a 4. But
that's all right.
You like leaving those. 9 counts are good on this.
Yep. Yeah, you take your spares all day. If you can pick up a double here and there, great.
And that was kind of the MO for this pattern was, play the part of the lane where you could stay out of trouble, where you could leave 9 on bad shots. And, that was hard to find, but if you were playing left, you just had to have the right ball in your hand. If you were playing right, you just had to have the right speed, and pair it with the right ball. It's, it seems easy on paper, but some of these guys are able to do that pretty consistently, and that's why they're here on our show.
So that's why they're here, and we're sitting right here talking about them.
Yes, there's a reason we run the live stream, and that's okay. And if you missed any of the action, we will have a complete recap of this event on, I believe, Tuesday on NDBowling.com. And then Thursday, we will preview the next NDBowling.com major, the KFYR TV Bowling Classic, being held next weekend in Mandan. First shot for Will on NDBowlTV looks pretty good.
Yep, that was nice.
Again, he's got that little bit higher ball speed that kind of takes certain parts of the lane out of play.
Yeah, but he's got the rev rate to pair with that, too. And I said it's not overpowering in either sense, but it's enough where he said he might be able to get away with a little bit more than either Brent or Chad were in the first game.
And Will Matafee is a name that I've seen quite a bit in a lot of the tournaments down in the cities, the Masters events, the CBA events. So he's no stranger down there. He's his first time up here at the Shootout, first time on NDBowlTV, but a well-known name down in the cities.
Yeah, and obviously a great game. I mean, really solid all the way around, and that's 2 really good shots to open up.
And thank you, Quentin. We didn't have the scores on the screen, but not a moment too late there. As we are 2 frames in, we do appreciate you reminding us.
Let's see what Brent can do here in the second.
Yeah, first frame, a little high for a 4-pin.
But I think that's a good sign. I'd almost rather see a 4-pin than, the weak 10s. You can maybe adjust a little easier off of that.
See, and it seems like the players, when they get that weak 10, they get to that point where they just try to fit the ball to a spot that covers the head pin a little more, whether that's slowing down a little bit, turning your hand a little bit, getting a different hand position to try to get that entry angle to get the corner out. And then, I mean, these are kind of leaves that happen.
Yep, that's the result, is then they just, you just go a little high, whether it's, leaving just a 6-10 or leaving, big 4s.
But Brent, pretty good spare shooter, so
yep,
stay clean.
Said you stay clean in this, and you're going to be in the match. There's not too many people that are going to throw 5 or 6 baggers out there right now with
Absolutely.
With how it is played all day. Yeah, we've seen some good scores, 230s, 240s towards the end of the day, but you put the pressure of being in Stepladder Final, and 5 and 6 baggers are huge.
Okay, Brent Newman, frame 3.
Pretty good shot again.
Yep.
Yep, faced up nice. Looked like it might have been a ball change on the left line. I can't quite tell. They're all dark balls to my eyes, but a little bit different reaction than he had the first game.
All right, and in the chat room, Will's nickname is Wild Bill. I don't know if we're going to call Will Wild Bill, but we do appreciate that. He's the best up and corner down in the area. I do believe that. EP Bowling Dude, is that a Matt Mcneal sighting? It is. Matt, thank you for joining us on NDBowlTV. Appreciate you tuning in. Tyler asking what the oil pattern is after the shot. We will put it on the screen for you. Oof. Okay, an 8-pin for Will, and real quick, we'll try to get that oil pattern on the screen quickly if I can do this right. It is a 2-2 4-1 pattern, a custom 42-foot pattern made custom for this tournament. Just a shade under 29 mils of oil, so still pretty difficult for the average Joe like me and Ken here in the booth, but it took plus 26 to be the top 30 this week to advance to match play, and our top qualifier was, yesterday anyway, was Paul Bober at 18-16, so 216 over to be the top spot. And I do believe they still give away an entry into next year's shootout if you're the top qualifier today, so, or yesterday. And Matt, we do appreciate that.
Yep, thank you.
Hope all is well with you. Matt, I do believe he's still a Storm Tour rep for the PWBA and a past champion here at the Shootout. 2-time winner, I believe.
Yep.
A couple of the many accolades for him.
Oh, that's left.
Left, and okay.
Well, that's okay. Although Still not the easiest spare,
Right.
if you will.
Again, if you can miss and leave something like this, I would take it all day long.
Yep. Say my motto's always been miss bad, so you don't have to worry about the real ugly stuff by missing by those 1 or 2 boards.
Dale Caber, thank you for tuning in. Do appreciate that. I do appreciate all of you tuning in today and coming into the chat room.
And smart decision by Will right there, throwing the spare ball at that.
Yeah, that is very easy to chop on this.
Yes.
Okay, so Brent threw a really good shot on 29 there, made the adjustment off the 4-pin. Now here he left the 6-10, I believe, the last time he was up, so
Yep.
maybe got a little slow with it on that lane. We'll see if he kind of makes an adjustment here to get a rare double to get him back into this match. It's okay if it faces.
Oh, wow.
Something must be going on that right lane that I thought it was good off his hand, and then it just started to read a little earlier than I'm used to seeing. And
It looked like it was in a really good area, but I think ball speed was just maybe a little bit down. He's trying to get it. Maybe he's trying to get it to face up, so he's trying. Like you said, it's so easy to do what he just did. Like I said, you get a little soft, and all of a sudden it'll check off of that spot that's out there, but it'll jump high if you're too soft. But still by no means out of this match yet. Just got to get something going here.
okay, a little bit of insight there in the chat room from Matt on our 2 seed, Paul Bober. So very good. I could see how he's an underrated player. There's not much flash about his game, but it's very effective. So we'll see him next, facing the winner of this match.
Yep, and there's the other side of the coin when you get maybe a little bit quick with it.
Yeah, do you think that was an overreaction from the last one?
I would bet money on that being the overcompensation from going high, is you just either get a little quick or a little bit wide, and that can happen so easily.
Maybe.
But
Good spare.
on the spare, and he needed that desperately.
Okay, so an opening here for Will. Early lead in the match. Now he can grow his lead a little bit more. Got a push.
So it was pretty close, but
Fortunate to leave just the 9. Got
Yep.
the 4 out there.
yep. Again, you take 9 spare and move on, and you're gonna keep with a 20+ pin lead, and that's okay halfway through the match. Yeah, you have to be so precise right now to pick up any kind of doubles, turkeys. It's very difficult out there right now. From
Yeah, you
sitting
saw
back here.
you saw like 4 and 5 baggers here and there during the match play, but there definitely weren't many.
No, not at all. I mean, I think we touched on it, but Paul, our number 2 seed, Paul Bober, he started with first 7 in position round, and that was you didn't see that.
Right.
It really tough out there. You got to be so good shot to shot, and that's why these guys are here.
Ooh, good swisher there for Will.
Yep.
Again, that's kind of where you want to hit him here at North Hill Bowl. And again, once Paul comes to our TV pair, you're going to see a different area of the lane being played by our top 2 seeds. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what look they have. They're only going to have 2 shots on each lane. But again, They've been
Yep.
playing there most of the day, especially Nick. You know, that guy, he knows what to do in this house. I think it's the same ball, the same line every year, and he's always there. So,
Yep, and Nick was on the spare in position round, and, you know, nobody has touched that part of the lane yet since they finished. So, I mean, it's definite advantage, although with Paul very likely playing out there. That was a nice
much
shot.
better shot by Brent there, yep.
Yeah, but with Paul likely playing out there, from what I can tell, from what he's practicing down there, who knows? Maybe that just changes things enough where, you know, it might be a little bit tougher for Nick in the title match. We'll see. A couple games away from that, but, you know, if one of these guys can get it going, who knows?
Okay, so we're halfway through our quarterfinal match. Small lead here for Will.
Yep, but both on a strike, and, you know, it can flip-flop very quickly here if Brent can throw another solid one like that last shot. Got to push a little bit.
Yeah, you saw that one a little left and started reading early, and fortunate to get the 8 count.
Yep, so you got the 7 out late, so, you know, you take your spare and you move on, but missed opportunity there to, you know, put a little bit of heat on Will. Careful.
Yeah, fortunate to get that one.
Yeah. I mean, I saw that chopped more than a few times yesterday. Did it myself.
It's easy to do.
It's so easy. But, yeah, big opportunity from Will here if he can throw another 1 or even 2 and to really put a block on this match with just a couple frames to go.
Looks okay.
Pretty close. Pushes enough, and there's the 4-9 that
He
tripped
almost
out last time.
Almost left it the last time on this lane. And I think one thing we didn't allude to is the amount of past champions that missed the cut this week, and
it was
a lot of
surprising.
names you didn't think would miss the cut. I mean, champion 2 years ago, Josh Link, threw it very well, just couldn't carry.
Yeah, I bowled with Josh all day, and it was crazy the amount of good shots he looked like he threw that got him 9.
Yep, past champion Richard Bitko in 34th, defending champion Andy Mills in 40th. Down to the Storm Regional rep Matt Gasson was here.
Yeah.
Finished in 55th. He had a good look early and then
set.
just kind of couldn't carry.
Yep, he had an up and down day, bowled right next to him, and, you know, he had it one game and didn't have it the next game, and it just, you know, it's the way this pattern plays.
Our last 3 KFYR champions, you know, Jeremiah Smith, who is defending his title next weekend in Mandan, finished 47th. Mike Green, Blake Wallstrom in the 50s.
Oof.
So a lot of, you know, big names that didn't make their way to day 2, which was kind of surprising, including past champion here, Eric Parvey, didn't qualify as well. So
yeah, it shows how difficult this tournament is. You know, like I said, number of guys making their first cut up here, and, you know, we're seeing a couple of them on the show here. So it is very tough tournament to consistently bowl well in, which is why what Nick does makes it even more astounding to me, to be quite honest, is he's just consistent.
Always there.
Yep, always there, just always consistent. You know what you're going to get from him.
And I'm curious, you know, every time I see Nick here and every time I see him in the finals, he's throwing a tenacity, playing the gutter. And I'm genuinely curious, does the guy throw it anywhere else? Or does he put it in a chamber and preserve it for the shootout every year? I don't know.
Or, you know, did he purchase 10 of them or whatever, so he has one for every year?
That's very possible. A shameless plug to Nicholas Jay's Pro Shop down in La Crosse. If you're down there, go get a tenacity from Nick. I mean,
but, yeah, Brent right here with an opportunity to square this match with a couple good ones, and that looks pretty
there?
close. Oh,
Yeah, that right lane is getting pretty ugly. Between the 4-9 and then, Brent gets a good one there and you get a touch slow and he pays the ultimate penalty. Just
yeah, and the second that you try and get firm with it and you're going to leave 2 10s or, wash out because you push it through the oil.
I'll get the 2, so now through 8.
Say it's not over yet, but I mean, if you're Brent here and you don't strike in the 9th frame,
you're gonna need a lot of help.
Yeah, it's going to be incredibly difficult, obviously. But yeah, I mean, as we've seen, it can flip on a dime. So
yeah, and I think just in the position around Spencer Gibson had a really good game going and opened the 10th, and that ultimately cost him a spot on our show. So you never know.
Yep, absolutely. So let's see if Brent can get one here in the 9th to give himself an outside chance. And it looks pretty good. And just there's that.
The quitter 10.
Yep. But still, especially with the count where it's at, it is not over. Any kind of an open is going to leave this an even match. For any kind of an open from Will, I should say. But at the same time, if you're really, you just need 2 marks to lock it up. And on the spare.
And Tyler says, I feel if he increased his ball speed a little, he'd be in the pocket every time. And I do believe that to a point. The problem with this pattern is you're bowling on a shade under 29 mils. And a lot of the time, if you got a little fast, your ball never really sees the lane and never really gets that entry angle required to get the corners out. And even that shot on 29, I think if he got a little firm with it and the ball, that quitter 10 is there. So it's like you got to be in the right ball speed to get shape on the ball to get the corners out. But you have to fit it to a spot. And good swisher zone.
Was that I think that was a left move because that looked like he gave it a little bit of loft on it. And that was nice.
Yep.
So, yeah, just 9 pins right here. 9 pins and 2 shots is a winner.
And again, you're going to see a completely different zone being played by our top two seeds here. So it'll be interesting to see, as Will is probably going to be the only guy playing left now. So he's going to have that area of the lane to himself the rest of the way.
Yeah, he could either get a big advantage if he can really get lined up, which I think he's pretty close. If he can get this left lane, he could be a handful. But we'll see. So still got to get the 9 and 2 shots. It's not out of the question yet. As he says that, yep.
If you can kind of get the ball down to about that 12, 13 board range and just get it to float, I think you're in good shape. Again, you miss right, there's out of bounds. You miss left, it's pretty flat in the middle of the lane. From 12 to 12, it's still pretty flat. So,
yep. Going to fast track to the end here now that it's locked up.
Yep. Another great tournament by Brent. Our first time seeing him on NDBowlTV, and I'm pretty sure it won't be the last time we see him. Great player and a good tournament this weekend.
Yeah. Yep. Said really solid game. Can see why he made it all the way here.
And your winner of the quarterfinal match, Will Matafee, will take on Paul Bober, our number 2 seed, who was the top qualifier yesterday. And I'm almost positive there was only one lefty that made the cut. That was Ryan Schleicher. He qualified second yesterday in a pretty good performance considering the next lefty and that I know is Wade Scott, who is the alternate. So as far as you left-hander guys in the chat, wondering how they were doing. Again, it was pretty rough for some of them, but Ryan made it look easy yesterday.
It was a weird one. It's one of those where I feel like left wasn't really in play for lefties, but if you're able to move in and hook it a little bit, like I mean, let's be honest. For those of you who know Ryan Schleicher, that's probably his A game is hooking it.
Always has been since I've known him.
Yeah, me too. He made it look easy yesterday, and maybe not the day he wanted today, being the only lefty. But just tough day for a lot of lefties yesterday.
Yep, and Ryan finished 29th today. Never really got it going, but a good tournament overall for him. Finishing today, just to kind of look around at some of the names, Russ Oviatt made the show last year, finished in 7th. Let's see, Brady Stearns, past champion, in 11th. Dave Langer, past champion, in 15th. Down to Matt Smallin, also a past champion, in 21st. So a lot of big names that made the cut and had decent weekends.
Yep. It said it was incredibly close. I mean, there's, 100 pins covered, 15 spots, basically. So, a lot of movement today. So,
well, here's our first look at Paul Bober. I do believe he is throwing an Obsession Tour Pearl. A pretty simple game, playing from right.
Yeah, and you can see what Matt was saying, how he's very underrated. It's not what you would expect is going to do well, but, I mean, between yesterday, what he bowled, leading qualifying, and then with how he bowled today, it obviously very, very good. So I can see why he can be considered underrated.
And a quick look at our Stepladder Finals. Again, Nick Heilman, our past champion in, I believe, 2017, is our top seed. And now Will Matafee will take on Paul Bober in the semifinal match. Matt Smallin, thank you for joining us in the chat room. Jeffrey bowled 1 year at Chateau Lanes. Highest game ever was 245. Welcome to the live stream. We do appreciate you. And Chateau Lanes is the home of the Manitoba Open, which will be held in a couple weeks. They had to move the tournament up a month due to some COVID restrictions and things going on up in Winnipeg, so that'll be held in a couple weeks. Unfortunately, NDBowlTV will not be there this year. It just does not work out in the schedule for us to go, but we will still cover the event on ndbowling.com as best as we can. So good luck to everyone going to Manitoba in a couple weeks. I know they have a different format going on up there. It'll be a 6-game block, multiple shifts, so you can re-enter, and then the top so many bowlers advance to Sunday for match play as per usual. So if you're watching this, please head on over to Facebook. There is a Manitoba Open group. Join that, and tournament director Melody will have all the stuff on there as far as the details go with that tournament. And always a well-run tournament, and always the most welcoming of people up there. So I wish them the best this season, and hopefully we can get back there for another show next year. So,
yeah, always hear about how well that's ran. Melody, I mean, great staff up there,
And the amount of sponsorship money that they come up with, I think even in an off year like this year, she was able to raise $4,000, I think it is, in sponsor money, which is unbelievable. And I hope those who can go bowl that tournament can go support them as best as they can this year and help keep that going into next year.
Yep, absolutely. Appears as though Paul is going to have Will start the match.
Okay, so Will Matafee and Paul Bober in our semifinal match. The winner will get to take on Nick Heilman in the final. Again, I'm Darren Cini alongside Ken Fletcher calling the action here at North Hill Bowl in Minot for the 2022 Morris Anderson Memorial Shootout, live on the High Plains Bowling Network. If you could, please share the stream with everyone you know on social media. We have 2 matches to go before we crown a champion of the first major here of 2022. Good shot.
Nice opening shot from Will. Yeah, you can tell he made some kind of probably 4-board move, and just now giving a little bit of loft.
2 years ago, the 2 years that he won, he had to play the lanes quite differently. Saturday and Sunday. Sunday was forced to further left usually, and playing straighter, with cleaner cover. I do believe that, and I remember us talking about that after you won here in the booth. So the lanes always play different on day 2 here at the Shootout. That looked like it started early.
But you take the gifts when you can get them.
That's right.
Say, Paul, you know, like I said, we'll see Nick playing pretty much the same area of the lane, but, you know, nobody rolls it quite like Nick Heilman does. And, you know, Paul obviously, you know, bowled incredibly well to get where he's at right now, but a little different kind of game than Nick has, so see how that can hold up.
Okay, frame 2 for Paul Bover on 29.
It's pretty close, except that just finished hard. And
I think he's seeing a little more hook than he saw over on the practice pair, and perhaps on the pair he bowled, what, 27 and 28 in position round.
yeah, it could be. It said, you know, like I said, you know, pretty simple. There's not a lot going on as far as what he's doing to the ball or ball speed, but
Again, yeah, he's throwing a pearl cover, so the ball wants to store its energy.
it's close.
Ooh.
Good effort. Yeah, so he's just seeing a lot of jump off the back end with what he's throwing. So we'll see how that holds up if he can figure out, you know, fine tuning it, because the shot is obviously there, you know, because he's played it all day, but, you know, a lot of the day from what I've seen, but you know how well it's going to hold up on this pair.
And we weren't here early enough to see who started on this pair, and I think that would be a good tell as to, you know, how his lane broke down.
Well, I believe I know one of the two that was on it. And lucky getting the 10 out there. I believe that Henry Trutwin was one of the two on this pair first match. And
So a high rev player.
for those of you that don't know Henry, maybe the highest rev rate in the area. Very, very good bowler.
And on the fresh, I could imagine he was playing a little further right, so.
More than likely, I would think. But, yeah, we didn't quite get to see the end of the first match. So,
Hook.
oh, wow. Yeah, I've seen things like that way too often where you know, you get it, that 2-8 is such a difficult spare because there's that out of bounds where if you throw it, that's what happens. But if you get in the middle of that lane because it's so flat, it's going to hook and go across it, and we saw that way too many times too.
Correct. I believe Chris Charles was right over here on this same pair when he threw it that same thing, and it surprisingly hooked more than you thought, and it took out just the front 2 pins. So it again, you're bowling on a shade under 29 mils, so there's a lot of oil out there. Most of it starts in the front, but as the day goes on, we're hitting that point in the breakdown where there's a lot of oil down lane. So push
enough. Yep, that was nice.
Okay, good recovery off of that open.
And ball switch, it appears, from Paul.
I didn't quite see what he picked up, so
Couldn't quite tell, but talking to one of the guys I believe he came with, and yeah, I don't see this as a bad idea.
that looks like a Columbia ball, like a
And
power swing. And that one also picked up early on him, and I think he's a little beside himself. So is this going to be a case where he makes a big zone move? I don't know. I mean, you hate to go to a match and just kind of be lost on both lanes right away, but you know, the bowlers of this caliber, they're able to make those moves quick. It'll be interesting to see what he does.
say, I mean, even with back-to-back splits here, you know, whether he picks this up or not, that looks pretty close. Oh,
He got 3.
you know, I mean, he's still well in this match, but yeah, you need to find something quick. See what he tries to do on this left lane, and he's going back to it. So he obviously saw something that he didn't like and thought this was the move, but sometimes it's not easy to do it in one shot. Might take a couple. That looked like he actually paralleled left.
Yeah, gave it a little more firm down lane. So
that was pretty nice, but yeah, we'll see what that does. But good shot right there.
All right, frame 4 for Will Matafee working on a strike. Be a nice early double here for Will if he can convert.
Yeah, opportunity.
On the tougher of the 2 lanes, though.
Yep.
Get there.
It's a little left, I think, yeah.
Get lucky. Oh.
It's okay. Yeah, see, and that's the thing. It's like you get that far in, and all of a sudden you push the ball a little bit right, and then it's going to sail, and you're going to leave either washouts or 2-10 combinations. And that's the difficult thing about the way this pattern, especially today, is broke down.
That's the thing. Yesterday in the qualifying, it was about game 4 or 5 where they really started getting a little touchy, and I feel like that's where they're starting to get to now with the fewer games bowled on them today. It's just starting to get to that point where they're transitioning down lane to where they're a little touchy. And
yeah, and what what do we hear so often is everyone likes to start day 2 where they finish day 1.
Yeah, I can't talk for lefties, but that's exactly what the righties like to do.
Yep, and it turns into this quite often where you see the guys going either way in, like Will is, or Paul and Nick, who are going to be way right. And that was a nice
again,
shot.
I'm a player, and you know me probably better than most people in the building. I'm a player that likes to see a little down lane motion, and
Yep.
on the fresh, I was able to see that playing a little bit towards the middle of the lane. I couldn't get my feet too far left, or else it was out the window.
Yep.
But I like to see a little bit more motion down lane. Some people don't like to see that. And so I think that's why you saw kind of a difference in where people were playing all weekend.
Yep, very well, could be. Yeah,
Good projection there.
So that's definitely a parallel left from what I could see.
Yeah, it was a pretty good move.
Yeah. Those are 2 really solid shots, so we'll see how well that holds up. But, yeah, nice double to get him right back in the match after a couple quick opens there.
Yeah, great move off of 2 that kind of surprised him a little bit and dug in deep a little early on the lane and went nose for splits. So great move for Paul. Let's see if he can get a rare 3-bagger going here. It's okay.
Pretty close again if it gets.
Swisher
Nice.
zone, and we have a 3-pin match.
And see, he knows how big of a shot that was. Yeah, at this point, from what I can see with Will, it's if he can hit this right lane, he's gonna be tough to handle because he's got a fairly decent look overall. It's just what can he do on this lane here? A little less loft, trying to get the push a little
Great
further
shot.
down. Nice.
Great shot.
Yeah, you wonder if maybe that little loft is just a little bit of extra hit up on it, just causing it to check early. Well, Paul throwing a 3-bagger. Can Will come back at him with one? Staying with the loft on that lane, and yeah,
Pretty good shot.
It's wired on the left lane right now. See if Paul can keep it going after I would say kind of a gutsy move, because it's an area that really didn't seem like it was playable. It's just right on that out of bounds line.
Yeah, sliding about 20, hitting 10.
And that's 4 really good shots in a row. Yeah, because like we'll see with Nick in the next match is he'll likely be right of that, unless
he was in the position round on this pair, and it looked pretty good for him.
Yeah, well, he said, well, you know, is Paul being a little bit left of that going to affect what Nick can do? We'll find out soon enough, but you know, we've got a good match brewing here.
Bober working on a 4-bagger.
It's pretty close again.
Very
Nice.
good shot.
Nice shot. Wow.
Again, simple but effective game. Sliding about 20, hitting 10. He changed balls from that Obsession Tour Pearl to what I believe is a power swing. Which both are pretty smooth pieces. You know, a lot of the Columbia line is for me anyways, is a good smooth brand. So I could see how Paul likes both of those pieces.
Yeah, just the way that Obsession looked just a little bit more flippy on the back. But
Yep, stored its energy a little longer.
It's like a hook. And
that one got away from Will. That's easy to do too.
That right there is what can happen. You get a little firm and a little right, and it will not pick up even with, you know, the hand that Will has.
And based off the body language, I think he liked that to a point and was surprised it never actually saw the lane. So
yeah, I had that happen a few times to me where it's like, oh, I was pretty good off the hand, but it sails for 60 feet, and that's what happens.
It's one of those things where if you don't roll it off your hand, the ball has a hard time seeing the lane when it gets down to about 40 feet, and that ends up what happens. It just kind of skates through everything.
Yeah, it looks like he maybe just came around it and said that a little bit of spin it did not bode well for this pattern. And I mean, I shouldn't say anything. I'm kind of a spinner, so I saw that way too often yesterday. But I mean, still, they're on a solid game. He's not out of this yet. Just hit your good lane here in the 9th frame and give yourself a chance.
Like you made sure you hit that one.
Just
perhaps an overreaction on the last shot.
Just maybe a little bit too much of a hit on it. So still not out of it. I mean, he's already in the 2-0s, and you know it's still anybody's match. But Paul on the driver's seat after 5-bag, you know, going on a 5-bagger still right now. So we'll see, but Paul can step up here and throw a couple strikes and take care of this match real quick. Yet another pure shot. Well, what is it? Mark here in the 10th, I believe.
Power swing get re-released? It did. I'm not quite sure when it did, but it was a ball that was re-released by Columbia not that long ago.
So yeah, if my math is right, Mark here for Paul in the 10th, and this is done deal. Looks pretty good. Ooh, well, yeah, that's okay.
But again, that's this kind of game by Paul is exactly why all these guys are bowling on day 2. Is You go both lanes, throwing where you think it needs to be, and it hooks up and goes nose for an open.
Yep.
And not only the ball change, but the zone moved and reels off 6 in a row.
Yeah.
You know, that's how good these guys are.
Spare here is
That'll
almost
do
a
it.
winner. He needs just one pin, but that's so that's a heck of a gutsy move to completely change what you're throwing and where you're throwing to, and to do it with that kind of conviction to throw 6 in a row like that. That's
Absolutely, and we do have somebody in the chat room that says Paul has that Pete Weber roll, and I would agree with that. It definitely looks a lot different behind the line, but it equally as effective down lane. So that's a very good comparison.
That's
so 224 for Paul Bober, great score based off of how he started.
That is a very big game, and you know, Will's only going to come up with what, you know, maybe a 2-0 here, but you know, great weekend for him. I mean,
yeah, we're going to see him again on NDBowlTV.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure of that.
Absolutely. He said just super solid game. I mean, he's got great mix of rev rate and ball speed potential.
And again, a household name down in the cities, and we'll get to see him a lot, and maybe we'll see him in Fargo in a few weeks.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, but said won't be the last time we see him up here for sure.
All right, so congratulations to Will on a great weekend, and Paul Bober will move on to face Nick Heilman in the championship match. Again, if you're just joining us, please share the live stream with everyone you know on social media. We are about to head into the final. If you haven't already, please stay up to date, stay connected with ndbowling.com and NDBowlTV on social media. Like our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter. Go follow us on Instagram as well. Like the YouTube page, please hit that subscribe button. That is very important to us and helps us out quite a bit. Big thank you to the folks at Hammer, the official bowling ball sponsor of NDBowlTV. Again, our next show will be at the NDBowling.com Classic in Moorhead at Sunset Lanes, the season's final major, February 27th at approximately 1:30 local time. The winner will take home the coveted Glenn Haynes Memorial Trophy that I did receive at the house not that long ago, so it is in my possession. And if you would like to win it, please call Sunset Lanes and sign up for the NDBowling.com Classic today. I do believe that one starts at 1 p.m. on the 26th, so it's pretty easy for a lot of people to drive up that morning instead of having to stay 2 nights in the Moorhead area. So if you want to, please give that one a try. Again, you're watching NDBowlTV, the High Plains Bowling Network. I'm Darren Sini alongside Ken Fletcher calling the finals for the 2022 Morris Anderson Memorial Shootout here at North Hill Bowl in Minot. We'll switch over all of our cameras here to take a look at Nick Heilman for the first time, our past champion here at the Shootout, also the defending champion at that very NDBowling.com Classic. Looking to win 2 straight majors, and this would be his 4th overall, which would join him to elite company among NDBowling.com major winners. I do believe there's only 10 or so, 12 or so people with 4 or more NDBowling.com major championships.
That's where it gets, you said, it gets to that elite company where, you know, you're getting the guys that have been around and, you know, you hear and see them every tournament.
Yeah, I do believe Michael Schmidt is still the all-time leader in major championships with 7. Tied for second is Andy Mills at 5, so nobody is at 6. Andy Mills is tied with, I do believe it's Dave Schick and Jeff Smith at 5.
Sounds about right.
And then there's a nice pack of players at 4, which Nick Heilman can be a part of with a win here today. And, you know, that list includes players like Jack Nelson, Mike Morris, Matt Smallin, some pretty great players.
Yep. So guys you would expect to see right here.
All right, so let us know in the chat room who you think is going to win this match, Paul Bober versus Nick Heilman. Head on over to the chat room. Let us know who you think is going to win the championship match of the Morris Anderson Memorial Shootout. As you can see, we are up to 1,410 subscribers on our YouTube channel. We do appreciate all of you who have subscribed here today. We are trying to get to 2,000 subscribers by the end of the season, so if you would, that would be great.
And appears Paul's going to start the match, so. And as you would expect, I'm sure if you saw the last couple practice shots from Nick, right where you would think he would be.
Yep.
So I said we'll see what Paul being just a little left of him does.
So do you think Nick had been watching and knows that right lane is probably the harder one, so he wants to finish on 29?
I think he could see it in one of his practice balls. Oh, jeez,
messenger in
miss.
front of the 10-pin.
Yeah, one of his practice balls looked like he got it a little bit straight up the lane, and it hooked early and went through the nose, where if he projected it just a little bit, it was okay. So he maybe could have seen something in that. I mean, and Nick's as smart as they come when it comes to reading his ball motion. So,
okay, on the spare. And now we'll take a first look at Nick Heilman. Again, Nick is going for his second Morris Anderson Memorial Shootout title. He will join Matt Mcneal and Andy Mills as the only two-time winners of this event if he can win. Paul looking for his first NDBowling.com major championship. That one read early. That's exactly what Paul was seeing early in that match the game before.
So we'll see what Nick does, but get your spare first of all, and he'll be thinking about that after his next shot, what he wants to do. Careful. That is not what you normally see from Nick.
Well, I guess if there's ever a spot to do that, to be fair, I guess that's... But you're right. I mean, we normally don't see that.
Yeah, I mean, Nick, for somebody who does not throw a plastic ball, I don't know if there is a better spare shooter in this building than Nick Heilman.
I can't argue with that. Although he's trying to give us a reason to, but... All right, bounce back frame for Nick. Looks right.
I don't know if it was right so much as he might have even moved left.
You think so?
I think he might be trying to move closer to where Paul was because he sees that where he was is not there.
But I also thought that one was a little different off his hand. Maybe he didn't catch it as much as the one on 30, but it was slightly different off his hand. Whether he did move left or not, I guess we'll see. Another chance to kind of prove your spare shooting theory.
Oh, and yeah, he knew it the second he let it go.
I'm going to blame that one on you, Ken.
I'll take the heat for that.
Yeah, the NDBowlTV Black Cloud is now Ken Fletcher.
Well,
early opportunity for Paul, though. I mean, you got to take advantage of it.
This is not an opportunity you get every day, so you need to jump on it and jump on it quick. And Nick already going to the bag. It's pretty close. Yep.
Looks pretty good.
That was good.
And you kind of saw a reaction there from Nick, like he needs to get going.
But again, I mean, opening the first two frames is not great, but if you're going to have them anywhere.
Yeah, I honestly don't know the last time I saw Nick do this, whether it's qualifying or anything else. So this is very rare for him.
Yeah, back-to-back makeable misses it's got to be unheard of in his mind. So he's...
Well, Paul's doing what he needs to, though. I mean, this is a big shot early.
Yeah, absolutely. You throw a double up on the board right now, and that's tough to be staring at, and that looks pretty good too.
Nope.
Yeah, I think he knew that one right away.
Throw the shots when you need to. So great follow-up there for Paul Bober. Let's see if Nick can shake off the early going to the bag. What are we going with?
Yep, that's a switch.
Not quite sure what he took there, but we'll find out momentarily. So a ball change early for the top seed.
That's okay, though. I
I feel
mean,
like that one hooked twice. Like it got to a point where I thought it was setting up, and then it just kind of went another few feet down the lane, and then went like that's reminding me of old North Hill Bowl on the Guardian. Oh, he's switching only on lane 30 now. He's going back to the other ball on lane 29. So
I mean, maybe he's seeing the lanes different, like you were saying. That right lane has been.
I mean, he did leave the bucket over on 29, so it would make sense.
And that looks like a lot closer, and he does not get the break. It's 3 potential opens in the first 4 frames. I didn't see this coming.
Neither did I, but at the same time, the way Paul started that game before, there was obviously something a little touchy with playing right on this pair. Something changed, you know.
Yeah, so, I mean, yet again, another huge opportunity for Paul to put, 1 foot on the throat of one of the best bowlers here.
Yeah, the double hook is right. Yeah, that's exactly what I saw. We're staring right down lane 30 here, and that first shot by Nick, I saw it set up at about 35 feet, and then it just skids another 10 feet before it went. It was different. All right, frame 4 for Paul Bober working on a double. Big shot. Looks pretty good.
That was good.
Complete control right now.
He looks like he's in one of those zones where it's like we've both been there. You get in one of those zones where you're just like everything off the hand. It's like, yep, that's good. Yep, that's good. And, that's what, 9 out of the last 11 shots that have been pretty much dead flush perfect.
Yeah, very methodical game, very simple game, but pretty effective.
It's pretty close again. Yep.
You can't hard to compete with that ball reaction right there.
Yeah, it's this is kind of impressive right now. See what Nick can do, but you don't throw a double up on the board here, and I hate to say that the match might be over halfway through, but it's leaning that way. Close, but
looks like he's in a little iffy zone, so. Again, following this match, we'll get a word with the winner once they receive the trophy and the cardboard check that everyone loves. Heilman on the spare.
See what he can do in this left lane. I mean,
yeah, the last one hooked up high.
That was probably the closest shot that he's had this match right there, but he is going back.
Staying with that. Yeah, he's staying with that ball in this lane now, so.
Needs throwing up here. And did that look like a move left to you? Because I think it was a definite move left.
Yeah, a little more direct. So maybe a parallel move left was in order. So
trying to get closer to where Paul's playing, so maybe that outside break point is just not there anymore.
Yeah, and Paul's kind of got this little baby swing going on with this ball, and the reaction it sets up in the right part of the lane, and it's hard to find a better reaction, especially in this building. Looks left.
So it was close, but just a little high, and that's okay. Looking at his hand, like he
maybe grab that one a little bit.
Yeah, but hey, 4-pin, you'd pick up your single pin spare, and right now, he just needs marks.
Correct. Regardless of who you're bowling, so.
Very true, but especially against Nick. I mean, didn't expect it. So he said, you just keep throwing it right there. Don't make that big mistake, and you know, Paul is in an extremely good position to walk away with, to be quite honest, a surprise win.
Yeah. Not totally surprising, but as a first-time person here at the shootout to win is pretty impressive.
Yeah. It's pretty close again, and just,
Yeah.
I mean, splits it the bracket in half. That was beautiful.
And honestly, that's the MO of Columbia equipment in my mind. It's more smooth equipment, but when it gets to the spot and rolls, it's a pretty strong roll. And that's all I see right there, so great shot by Paul.
Yeah, I mean, Nick, you know, if he can,
That's
oh
right.
boy, yeah,
There's that out of bounds we've been talking about.
yeah, and I mean, this is the trouble too with the number 1 seed. It's you lead all day today. I mean, Nick led from pretty much the get-go.
Yeah, and he finished the match play up by 100 and some pins.
Yeah, 150, almost 50 pins, but that's the problem is you sit for so long.
Yep.
And good spare there from Nick. You sit for so long that, you know, some people just can't get the rhythm back. But I mean, somebody of Nick's caliber, I wouldn't expect that's the reason. Something's going on with the, you know, how the pattern is broke down for him since position round.
And that's surprising to me because he was the last guy to bowl right on this pair until Paul got here, and it changed just that much in an hour, you know.
Yeah, wow.
Because I think, pretty sure he shot a clean game in the 220s in the position round.
Yeah, 226 it looks like, but yeah, just whatever happened, you know, it obviously made a big difference to Nick being able to, you know, really connect with this pair. But again, I mean, you got to give credit to Paul too with the, you know, the like you said, the zone change that he made, and you know, the ball switch. That took some guts.
Yep. And to do it quickly, and that's the thing for any of you bowlers out there looking to bowl events like this or any other big time events around the country, is how quick can you make those moves from pair to pair without wasting frames? I mean, that's exactly it.
Yep.
And some people it takes 2 frames. Some people, they make a really good guess because they watch who they were bowling in front of them. And some people it takes 4 frames. And honestly, that's a lot of the times the difference in making cuts and not making cuts,
Absolutely.
making shows and not making shows, winning titles and not winning titles. So
yeah. Oh, well, pretty good shot there again to only get a stone 7. But I mean, again, you know, even at this point, he doesn't need to fill frames. He almost, I mean, he can have a victory lap here in the 9th and 10th. This is pretty much over.
Question in the chat room: has any bowlers in North Dakota, Manitoba ever made it to the PBA Tour and won a tournament or came close? And I'm sure there has been. You know, Michael Schmidt from Manitoba has won the World Cup, I believe, twice.
Yep.
He's a 7-time winner of NDBowling.com major tournaments. Mitch Hoope is currently a PBA member. He's from the Winnipeg area.
AJ Chapman has been on our show.
He's been on our show. He's from Iowa, but he's been on our show.
He's
Matt Mcneal, who's in the chat room. I mean, this guy has bowled on PBA shows before and numerous Eagles at the USBC Open, and
you name
among many other. 2-time winner here.
Yeah, you name it, Matt has pretty much done it. You know, if you want to go back into the 90s, Mike Morris, you know, 4-time major championship winner. He was on tour for a number of years and very close to making some shows, from what I recall.
Jack Nelson, a past Team USA member from Bismarck, and I mean, there's a lot of good bowlers.
Yep.
And some of them just don't quite get the recognition they deserve, in my mind. But
no, not at all. But yeah, I mean, no, no lack of talent has come out of this area. That is for sure. I mean, you know, are there title winners? Are there guys that have, you know, hung around on the tour for a long time? Maybe not, but I mean, that is not to discredit anybody that has bowled around here. And
yeah, Jeff Smith, a 5-time major winner as well, has made a show. So.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, that will do it for Nick Heilman, unfortunately, but another great tournament for him. I believe that's 7 of 8 shows now for Nick in the last 8 years, which is unbelievable to me. And the year he didn't make it, I think he was still top 10.
Yeah, considering how difficult this show of all shows it is to make, for Nick to have that kind of record speaks to how good he is.
Absolutely, and another great weekend for him. He'll take home the second place prize of, I believe it's $2,500, and then Paul Bober will be your winner of the 2022 Morris Anderson Memorial Shootout here at North Hill Bowl in Minot, taking home the $4,000 top prize. A trophy over here to our right that you probably can't see on your screen, but also the little cardboard check. It's not quite the big cardboard check anymore. It's about half the size, but I don't think they care so much about that one as they do the real $4,000 check.
Oh,
so.
Yeah. You know, one stat I would really be curious to look up one day is how many people have led qualifying and then come in and won.
Absolutely. That's pretty rare.
It's got to be a very rare thing around here.
I think more people have been the number and gone on to win, because Richard Bitko he made the show being the number once. I think Larson made the show being the number once.
Oh, yeah.
A few other guys, but I think that's happened more often than being the qualifying leader. It's hard to do it 2 days in a row, you know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, I know Paul didn't lead today, but, you know, qualifying second and then, you know, winning 2 matches, potentially shooting, you know, 240 in this game. But I mean, even so, you know, what he did today, incredibly impressive for what we believe is a first time here, and said leading qualifying, you know, quite frankly, out of nowhere, if you ask me. Why not trip out of 4.9 just to finish it off?
Again, we'll get a word with Paul following the trophy presentation, and we'll see kind of what his thoughts were going through this match, and then we'll kind of close it up here. But again, congratulations to everyone who made the show today, and big thank you to everyone who joined us in the chat room and watched today. We do greatly appreciate that. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the YouTube channel. It is free, and it helps us out quite a bit. Please hit that thumbs up button. And once again, we'll be live again on the 27th of February from Sunset Lanes in Moorhead for the NDBowling.com Classic, the season's final major, where we will also crown an NDBowling.com Player of the Year winner, which will be interesting to see the rankings on that because of the players that are entered into it. You got people like, let's see, Aaron Petrowitz was leading. Connor Allen was second. They did finish a little lower today. Josh Craig and Jamie Craig are both in those, so they're going to kind of close the gap. So it'll be interesting to see what those standings are.
Yeah. I don't think either of us saw 220, 240 those last 2 matches, so that's
hard to beat either way.
Yeah, I mean, 248 in the title match, you take that. I don't care what you're bowling on. You take that, and I'll sit down and take my chances.
Absolutely.
That's great bowling from Paul, and I mean, you can see it in his face right now.
Yeah, he's pretty happy. Don't get any wrong ideas here. This guy may be pretty stoic out on the lanes, but he's pretty stoked about winning this.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, no discredit to Nick, who you can see on our screen right now, but, you know, in a one-game match, it's better.
It's hard being the top seed. It really is.
It is, but I mean, it's the person who makes the shots, and you know, unfortunately for Nick, didn't make as many good ones as Paul did that match. I mean, that was pretty much 12 quality shots from Paul for 248.
And a big shout out to Rory Selk on our screen there as one of the main guys here at the Shootout every year, making sure everything runs smoothly. And it's a lot of work. You know, they do all the signups, all the brackets, all the setup for the banquet, make sure the pattern is fair. They do a little ball demo day on Thursday, and very welcoming to all the players here. So a big shout out to Rory, Jeff Craig, Renee Shirley, Robert Ballard, who works in back, Greg, the owner here, everyone inside the Lucky Strike Lounge. Everyone was pretty welcoming. It was a great weekend, and again, thank you to them for a great tournament. And if you guys want more information on this tournament next year, I can guarantee you it'll be one of the last 2 weekends in January, right back here at North Hill Bowl, and you and I will be here.
Yep,
so
100%. But
okay.
Yeah.
So once again, I think they're going to. Are we going to talk to Paul here? Okay, I guess we're gonna talk to Paul first. All right. And Paul, can you hear us?
Oh, yes, I can.
There we go.
Awesome. And welcoming into the booth, 2022 Morris Anderson Memorial Shootout champion, Paul Bober. Paul, congratulations.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate
Awesome.
it.
You led qualifying yesterday. Let's start
Yeah.
with that. Take us through your day yesterday.
The day yesterday was good from the get-go. Started, had great ball reaction to start. Went 230, 268 first two games. So I'm sitting, it frees up the balls. It frees up the swing for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, even, a little bit of transition in the middle of the block, it was, all right, well, it's still fairly decent cushion. I know pins drop, so it's not necessarily like I'm trying to maximize score. I'm just trying to stay above the cut number. And, I was able to finish strong yesterday by really, you saw it today, I played out, but yesterday I played in for most of the day. A couple games to start was good, but then big transition, we're bowling 6 on a pair, and I had to really kind of get in and, was able to, with my softer speed, allow myself to go around the pattern a little bit more and open it up where maybe, a fair majority of other folks could not. So that really led to good qualifying scores.
Very nice. So we see you wearing a Columbia shirt.
Yes.
Hammer is the official bowling ball sponsor of NDBowlTV. So what kind of pieces were you using this weekend?
So I am a Columbia staff member.
Very nice.
Yesterday for qualifying, I used a command solid to start. And when the pattern transition was forced inside, strong cover, rolly piece on the back, I had to go to something with, a little bit of sheen on it, pearlized cover. So I went to an Obsession Tour Pearl.
Great ball.
Finished up the day with that for the rest of the day. Today, kind of went in with the same mentality of start with the command. It looked okay. It looked fine in practice, and I shot 240, game 1 of match play. So that was a good choice. Kind of ran into the same problem. All right, start to get pushed in. Granted, we had less people on a pair. We had 2 on a pair in match play, so it didn't have to move quite as fast. But and it's not surprising. Usually on Sunday they play a little flatter, a little tougher,
Yep.
and so the move in was no good. And I struggled in match play for a good 4 games, 2-0, 180, fortunate to win 1 or 2 of those matches. But my ball reaction clearly wasn't very good, and I don't know where I was sitting after, say, 8 games, but it was outside the step ladder. And I knew if I'm going to make a run at this, it's not going to be in and curving it, even though you saw Will and Brent and those guys in the step ladder, they were able to do that, but I don't have the rev rate that they do. So it was, I got to take a chance, and that's when I bumped way out, and 230, 240 got me in, and it was I'm just staying committed to it in the step ladder, that's for sure.
So then, in that first match against Will, you were using the Obsession Tour Pearl from right.
Correct.
And it kind of checked up a little early on you. You went nose, had the 2 opens.
Yep.
You made the move.
Correct.
Did you do a parallel left, and what ball did you change to?
So it was pretty close to a parallel left. It was, I knew I had to get kind of away from that specific spot, but I didn't want to change my angle through the fronts too much. So I went 4 and 3.
Okay.
But went ball down to a dynamic swing.
Dynamic swing. Okay.
with-
I was thinking it was something else, but yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a dynamic swing, 4,000 Aberlon with a whole bunch of lane shine on it. So I knew it would get through the fronts way better. The question is it going to pick up on the back, because it's a very tumbly piece for me.
Sure.
So it was, I take a chance, because I really didn't feel, I knew I needed a game to beat Will. It wasn't going to take 180. So I had to string together some strikes.
Yep.
And I just didn't feel like I could. I felt like it needed to be a zone change with the Obsession Tour Pearl, and it was such a quick match. It's a gamble, but I didn't think it was the right one. And to a degree, my body and my timing have been used to 3-4 games of playing straighter angles, so I didn't want to all of a sudden say I'm going to jump into 4th, 5th arrow and try.
That's hard to do.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
difficult.
So it was kind of all right. Plant my flag. Playing straighter and see what happens.
Hey, it looked pretty good. And a quick a question in the chat room there. Matt Mcneal says, "Are you bowling the tat?" Matt's been watching all day. So
excellent. Good to see you and hear from you, Matt. That's excellent. I am not. I've actually never bowled the tat. I will actually be out in Vegas next week.
Very nice.
There are a couple PBA events out there. I'm a non-member, but they have a non-champions event and a member-non-member doubles, so I have a good friend Tim Tripp that I bowl many of those doubles events with. So
Very nice.
that's a good substitute for the 10.
Well, congratulations here today, and good luck next week in Vegas.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
All
Thank you
right,
so much, guys.
congratulations.
Thanks for doing this and the sponsorship and all the time that you guys do. It's great.
Absolutely, and great bowling.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, Paul Bober, the winner of the 2022 Morris Anderson Memorial Shootout. You heard it here first. He'll now receive his trophy and $4,000 from Jeff Craig, Rory Selk, and the staff here at North Hill Bowl. Again, quick thank you to everyone in the chat room for joining us today. It was another great tournament. And Ken, any final thoughts?
Just another great weekend as always, like we've talked about how many times. But, said surprise winner with Paul, but, hearing him talk, watching him bowl, incredibly deserving. I mean, like I said, very underrated. Because when you watch people nowadays, like you expect high revs, high ball speed, and you see a nice simple game like what Paul has, and it's kind of a breath of fresh air. To some of us lower rev guys, it's like, hey, maybe we stand a chance if we, just hone our games a little bit. And congrats to Paul, great step ladder. Like you said, that little zone move, that made all the difference in the world, I think.
Absolutely. And a quick thank you to all the sponsors. You see them back there on the masking units, from the Grand Hotel on the left all the way over to First Western Bank and First Western Insurance. Huge thank you to them. They're the ones that help make this possible, help pay out that $4,000 top prize. And again, we'll all be back here next year at North Hill Bowl towards the end of January for another shootout. And You'll hear from Ken and I at the Classic, the NDBowling.com Classic at the end of February. Yep. So if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. Let's take a quick look at our live subscriber count. We're up to 1,410 subscribers, so we gained about 20 today. I do appreciate that. Again, I appreciate all of you tuning in today and being in the chat room and kind of keeping us company. So that will do it for us here at North Hill Bowl. I got nothing else.
No, it's a great weekend as always. Great step ladder to watch again. So
awesome, yeah. And I guess that'll do it for me, Darren Sini, and for Ken Fletcher. You're watching NDBowlTV, the High Plains Bowling Network, live from the Morris Anderson Memorial Shootout here in Minot. Drive safe, and we'll see you in Moorhead.